Hello, Internet Capital family. Once again, I'm coming to you from gorgeous Bloomington, Indiana. It is a Chamber of Commerce day today here in the Midwest. It's about 84 degrees and sunny. I wish I could show you out the window, but it is beautiful. Also, want to point out I am wearing my free gear from Zeroland. Just note we are not paid shills. We are suckers for free gear, and I got my free gear right here. So thank you guys from Zeroland. I do appreciate that. Benjo, how are you today? Coming to us live and in person from the Big Apple.
I thought you were going to switch it up. It's always the Big Apple, but it is indeed the Big Apple. You could use
Indeed.
Gotham City or the various other nicknames that have been given to New York City, but it is good in the big city. I'm not sure how you country folk are living out there in the country roads. Have to bring that
Take
up.
me home.
Yep. Well, shout out Penn State. Got that dub against West Virginia this weekend. That was a good game. So I'm happy. Penn State won. Indiana won in a beautiful day in Bloomington. So ready
Yes.
to talk some crypto for sure. And I'll have my Zero Lens shirt on next week. It is currently in the wash. So it's my disclaimer.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Ben. We're filming a little late today, but it's good because I had time for my nap. I always like naps. I'm drinking my coffee, ready to go. Ready to go. Getting ready for another big football game tonight. The LSU Tigers versus the USC Trojans in Las Vegas.
Wow. I actually did not know that was happening. So that's good to know. Excited for that one.
Yes.
Got to replace Jaden Daniels, the quarterback. So interested to see how the Louisiana State University Tigers fare. But regardless, let's get into crypto. We got to
Let's
talk
get into
football.
crypto.
We got to talk football for a bit because crypto, I don't know, there's stuff going on, but the price action is still not making us happy. We've been in this sideways chop to down market for the entire summer, and it's fairly typical of the summer in crypto for depressed price action just because the nature of markets are that people just are doing summer things in the summer. They're not paying attention to markets. So this is a recurring theme that you'll see, and we got it again this year. Today is the first day of September, and hopefully that will shake out for a better Q4. But the Grand Tonto, are you still doing all right? How is the sideways market conditions faring for you?
So I don't like the sideways market conditions, but just today there's a airdrop that I've been farming, and I'm going to get my tokens tomorrow. And it occurred to me that I'm going to be able to get those at a very good price and stake them, and probably if I stake them, make my money back quickly. So I'm happy with that. And I am a long-term investor, Ben. I'm a hodler. Right? No matter if it's the primary coins, Bitcoin and ETH, or these other tiny little coins, I'm going to buy and hold and stick to my strategy, not do dumb stuff. That's what I'm not going to do.
Yeah,
So I'm feeling pretty good. I've decided that I have to look at this as a macroscopic long-term thing. And speaking of macroscopic, I think you may have like stolen my thunder in your newsletter today, talking about rate cuts being the primary driving factor for the next bull market.
yeah. Well, more specifically, it's the uptick in global liquidity that is expected that goes along with rate cuts, and that is a factor of Fed's balance sheet and other central banks' balance sheets expanding as they basically monetize the debts and also drop rates to reinvigorate the slowing economy, at least what we're seeing here in the United States. So, yes, that is true. That does make me optimistic. And if you didn't catch it, check out the newsletter. Basically, we talk about the global liquidity cycle and also the strong Q4 tailwinds that crypto and risk assets generally see in the fall. So, that is shaping up for some optimism for the market finally. But as you can see in these charts, that is not what we've gotten all summer, as all crypto investors know. We've been chopped sideways, chopped down more so. So what we're looking at here is since April, and that's a bit after the run up that we had earlier in the year. But we've basically just been chopping in a very downward slope, at least for Bitcoin. And this is what it looks like. And I want to pull up the weekly chart too, and just for reference for anyone listening, Bitcoin is at $58,322 as of today. And check out this weekly candle. So we had that big week last week, kind of recovered a bit after we got the Fed rate cut news, signaling that they would drop rates in September. But we retraced that entire candle this past week, and we're currently sitting at about 58,000. So that's what Bitcoin looks like. Any more thoughts on the chart? I think since we've started the show, we've just been here. So I don't know if we're bad luck, but that's how
Ugh,
shaped.
is it? Wow, it is true. It is true. We started out in the green, and then we sort of put the brakes on everything. Yeah, the I think a long time ago we made a comment that maybe this is a different kind of market now, and maybe different things are driving it. Maybe it needs to sort some things out here, and maybe it is really purely driven by macroscopic factors. I guess we're going to find out, but certainly it's been, if nothing else, boring for the most part, punctuated by a few days of excitement, is what I'd say, both up and down.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, apathy is the correct term for the market. Sentiment is pretty bad
Yes.
right now, and it's mostly because crypto investors do not have any attention span, and volatility is far more interesting than even if it was downwards volatility. At least it's interesting. But we've just been chopping slowly downward, which is probably the worst for sentiment of the market generally. So that's kind of the market we're in, and I agree with you. We said it from the beginning, institutionally driven cycle. I still agree with that. I do still think that we hit some point over the next 3-4 years, depending on how the election shapes out, how the different legislation that is supposed to be passed in Congress in the United States plays out. If it's favorable, I still think that we're going to get another crypto mania, and we're going to see altcoins, probably not the entire market, but certain sectors definitely explode and have some outsized returns. So I'm still waiting on that. But for now, it does seem that we're at the mercy of the economy and broader macroscopic, as you like to say, tailwinds and headwinds.
Yes. Let's look at ETH. This is going to be a bloodbath, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so here's the chart. The candle. Wow, the week is the weekly candle. So we're down 9%. Bitcoin's down about 9% on the week. Solana's down about 15% on the week. Most altcoins are down around the same. So ETH is down 9.2% on the week to 2,494 US dollars. We basically erased every single gain that we saw following the Bitcoin ETF launch, and we're right back there. So if you look at it from that perspective and you're an ETH bull, it's a good time to buy. And we've been getting a lot of ETH FUD on Twitter. Everyone's hated on ETH. There's been a lot of discussions about what the quote unquote problem is. And I don't think there's a problem. Like, as an investment, you buy ETH because you believe that it's going to be the future of this internet native financial system, this global settlement layer, this world computer that all these financial institutions and individuals kind of conduct financial transactions on. And if you're trying to score outsized returns on a smaller time frame, like, that's fine. Maybe it's not an investment for you. But over the long term, I'm not worried. Nothing about the fundamentals of that thesis have changed. So I'm still bullish, and it's just an opportunity to buy here. But that said, sentiment in the market is terrible. People are calling for the death of ETH. Vitalik, actually, we're going to talk about this. Vitalik kind of dumped on the fire earlier with some anti-DeFi takes, seemingly. So that was a big controversy. But at a high level, any thoughts from you, the Grant Tonto, about the ETH chart, about ETH generally at this moment?
Yeah. So the things with Vitalik, I read those, and I think it's more like he's a proponent for doing something useful with DeFi, not giving away free tokens. Was how I took it. Second thing I'm going to say is kind of hidden under this, and I don't know how to monetize this, but hidden under all this is a continued accumulation of stablecoin value on these networks that are enabling, at least some of the stuff I read, these micropayments and these payments among people in developing countries. I don't know the exact number, but stable coins have hit an all-time high. Clearly, that's on ETH, are similar networks. So I don't think, I do think maybe the specific euphoria for Ethereum might be, getting dumped on a little bit right now. But I think the general positive nature of programmable blockchains is still the what I want to say, the mojo is still there, at least for people that understand it a little bit more. Also, with regard to ETH, until Larry and his crew on Wall Street say, you know what, I'm going to put all my assets on Solana or on Tron or on something else, I'm pretty sure ETH is going to stick around because those guys have a tendency to not bet on losers. So at its fundamental core value, I'm still very bullish. I do not like the way this looks, but as a technology company, I think it is doing exactly what it needs to do.
Yeah, I agree there. And you can only say it so many times, and we have, but it's like people who are like, oh, these other chains are better because they have these certain technical properties. The EVM is terrible for developers to build on. It has all this overhang that makes it difficult to use. They're right from maybe a more like the more innovative side in crypto, like retail applications, perhaps yes, but you're right. The thesis for ETH is these big institutions ultimately coming on chain and using this and providing financial services on Ethereum. And BlackRock isn't going to go to market, explain to like their board of advisors, have to explain to people generally why they're building on a chain that Solana, for instance, that had all these racist meme coins and is associated with fraud. Like, I'm sorry, but it might have these other advantages, but that actually matters. And I think people often forget that. And ETH just kind of has this network effect and one shoe in with the institutions. And it's kind of like the writing's on the wall. Bitcoin had the first mover advantage as a coin, and that's helped it a lot, obviously. But ETH has a similar first mover advantage amongst the programmable blockchains, as you mentioned. So, not worried. Price action isn't great right now, but it's a great asset to hold over the long term. And just to punctuate this right here, let's do yeah, there we go.
Look at you.
Look at that.
Look at you. Wow.
Look at that. So, all right, my call. We could tap the line. We're not going below 2,000 though. It looks like so. We'll tap the line 2,000 straight to infinity. Look at that. Look at that TA.
Is that's you know what? That's like geometry, like a 10th grade geometry class right there.
I'm proud
You
of
know,
myself.
you should be. I think I could have done that too.
Yeah. Well, this is all the TA you need right here.
I think wait, put a range in there. Put a range in there that goes from like the little bump at the bottom, the two peaks there in the middle. See what the range is.
From where?
See the two see you see the dip, the big dip in the middle. There's two little peaks in there.
These ones?
No, no, no.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
In July 2022. Look at July 2022.
Yeah.
See that peak, and then go up to the right a little bit. There's another peak in January 2023.
Yeah. What about?
See, that's the upper bound of the range. If you drew a line between those, that's my TA.
All right.
Now, do you want me to give you a hot take that maybe a big majority of our listeners will not agree with?
Sure. Let's hear it.
All right. So, there's a lot of people that really, really, really like the privacy aspects of Ethereum and of these blockchains and that kind of thing. But what if I said, you know what, none of those people actually matter because they're in such a minority to the overall population who, to some extent, like me, feel that I'm not exciting. No one cares about what I do. Privacy isn't that big a deal because no one's really looking. Now, people are going to blah, 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 blah about that, and I get it. But what if I said, you know what, when all the people that are more like me are even crazier in that they don't give a shit at all they care about is money. Those are the people that need to get involved in this to really make it take off. It may have crossed the chasm of these early kind of really libertarian type adopters, but those people account for such a small minority. We now need to cross the chasm into the bigger pool of people that perhaps would sacrifice some of the absolute anonymity of Ethereum and other blockchains and this sort of technology in order for it to get greater adoption. What if I said that?
I don't understand what you're saying, to be honest, because blockchains are not private at all. They're extremely public. They are terrible for privacy. That's why you have all these privacy technologies on top trying to solve the issue. So,
well, I guess what I was talking about, like, no one knows. Yeah, yes, it's public, but there's no way to know necessarily who owns a wallet, for example.
Yeah, not with that. Well, Coinbase knows, or the exchanges know, and there's all these data analytics
Hmm.
companies that know. But like, what's your point here? Like, is your point that people are focusing on privacy too much as opposed to other sectors, or like, what's the critique? Who
The critique is we've tapped into all of the privacy maxis, and now, and to get to the next level, we need to tap into the next layer of people where privacy isn't the absolute reason to do it.
I don't think it's privacy. I think you're talking about like censorship resistance and sovereignty and hard money
Sure.
aspects. I think that's fundamentally different because blockchains aren't private at all. That's actually been a big issue with them because you have these institutions trading on here. And it's like, well, everyone can know who we are because we have billions of dollars. So it's like us or them, they can see our transactions. That's the issue. So it's like it is focusing on this like anti-institution, anti-government,
Okay.
anti-big money thing. Maybe is an issue, and I'd agree with that. But I do think that that's more relegated to the Bitcoiner group, I think, and that's why Bitcoin doesn't do anything. Like it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and that's great.
Mm.
So I think like Ethereum and other chains actually the people who really hold that as their number one value don't really congregate around Ethereum or Solana or these other blockchains because they
Oh.
don't really have the same values. So I disagree. I think you're reading hardcore Bitcoiner takes, to be honest.
Oh, you know what? I need to talk to Freddie.
Yeah, you're the hardcore Bitcoiners. It's like the
I got you.
anti money printing, anti debasement, and I think I've made my stance clear on this. It's like yes, crypto is important as a technology, as a hedge against irresponsible monetary policy on the part of central governments who collect tax revenues and then spend more than they collect in tax revenues on stupid stuff because they have the money printer and can do that. So as a citizen, having access to a non-censorable monetary asset like cryptocurrencies where it's resistant to this is a big deal, and I think that's one part of it. But that doesn't mean that you should just get rid of fiat currencies altogether and that they're worthless. Like it's good that there's some central bank who can stave off these economic crises. And you can get deep into the economic philosophy here because the Austrians would say that actually the central banks and this intervention into financial markets is the reason why we have boom and bust cycles. If you got rid of them, it would be just linear growth. That's what they say, and you can get in the weeds. But I would argue that having fiat currency as the main currency, medium of exchange within an economy with these other options is ideal.
Fair enough. I see. I think I've learned something today.
Good.
Benjo, that's why you're the brains of the operation. I'm the color commentator. That's it.
Gotcha. Well, I'm happy. I'm happy to learn something. I'm just giving my perspective, and I think
Yeah.
people go too far on both sides. Crypto people are like, "Oh, anti this," and then most people are just like, "Oh, yeah, it's fine." It's really not that fine. But if you have the option, you should, as a sovereign citizen, to invest in these assets that are resistant to this type of thing. Then that's fine. Yeah. So that's my point there. We won't get too much farther into that, but let's take a look. What do you want to take a look at? Any other assets you want to look at real quick?
No,
Move on. Nothing.
no, nothing. Oh,
I'll pull up,
actually, wait,
I'll pull
wait.
up Solana.
Yes, yes. Pull up NVIDIA.
Okay. Solana's an interesting looking chart, by the way. They're on the edge of this range here, so interesting time for crypto markets for sure. But uh,
We're gonna do this. This is just. I just want to look real quick, real quick.
that is a nuts chart.
So, but go back and look up until December 2024.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good point.
the definition of averageness of a tech stock, ups and downs. I mean, in fact, 2022 to 2023, evidently NVIDIA didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, from 2023 to now, it's like, oh, look what happens.
yeah,
So, I think that there are things to understand by looking at a company that literally makes $30 billion a year or a quarter, something like that. And trust me, they didn't get smart in 2024. They were pretty smart before then. I look at this. Let me back up. Everyone would accept that Nvidia is a tech stock, and these kind of charts over the past 2 or 3 years are exactly what you should expect. For ETH, that's exactly how I feel. It's a tech stock, and these crappy charts and great charts are exactly what we should expect.
I like the input there. I like the optimism. This is where crypto's headed in the future, hopefully. But Nonetheless, that's enough of charts for the day.
Yes, I'm getting bored with charts. Let's move.
I decided just to pull up the newsletter and we can just read the news stories straight off there since I'm putting them in there anyways.
Okay,
So
since you did it early, you didn't like my Notion thing. Yeah, I did exactly what you told me to do.
yeah, I did, but then I just had the idea that it's probably just better to pull up on here anyway. So here's our newsletter homepage. It's looking pretty good. I really like the little thumbnails. A lot of pepes. I love them. But
Yeah.
midweek crypto update. Let's start with the news here. So we'll skip the markets and macros since we just went over kind of the markets here.
Yes.
So first, let's do this one. Nasdaq announces SEC filing to start trading Bitcoin options. So this was actually submitted previously, and we talked about it, and then it was withdrawn. But that was just to make some amendments, I believe, and they've actually refiled it. So Nasdaq filed with the SEC to launch Bitcoin options, making it the second major stock exchange to offer a product after the New York Stock Exchange. The Nasdaq Bitcoin Index options will allow investors to trade options linked to Bitcoin's price on the ETF, further integrating crypto into traditional finance. And we talked about the implications of this last time, but kind of is another step to completing its maturity, Bitcoin's maturity as an asset within the traditional market. So I think that's a good thing. Any thoughts on that one or no?
Yeah, that'll increase liquidity, right? It'll let
Yeah.
more traditional traders use it, expand its breadth. So yeah, it's a good thing, and love it. Love to see it.
Yeah, 100%. That's pretty cool. I was excited to see that. Okay, number two, OpenSea gets a Wells notice from the SEC, which calls NFTs sold on the platform securities. So OpenSea is the leading, or was at least, I'm not sure anymore, the leading NFT
Yeah.
marketplace, and it received this Wells notice, which signals potential enforcement action. And it was over the sale of NFTs, which the SEC is calling securities. So OpenSea CEO David Fisner expressed shock at the move, vowing to fight the charges and pledging $5 million to support NFT creators facing similar legal challenges. And I know you're not an NFT guy, but this is just another example of the SEC's anti-crypto crusade. And this one's weird too because NFTs aren't really a big market narrative at the moment. So it just seems like they go after the easy targets. Any thoughts on this?
It makes the SEC look like a bunch of morons because, as you know, I think NFTs generally are just glorified JPEGs. How is a glorified JPEG, in my viewpoint, a security?
I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
freaking stupid. It's a waste of money. It's to go after not the NFT, but the SEC going after it. Why? It's a why.
Yeah, I don't understand either. And I would say I saw a tweet from Ryan Sean Adams from Bankless actually, which I thought was funny. It was a screenshot of eBay. They were selling token or not tokenized. They were selling baseball cards and like Pokemon cards and stuff. And he's like, "Look, they're selling unregistered securities on eBay, and it's basically
Oh shit, man!
yeah,
That's what I did.
yeah,
I'm gonna get the SEC's coming after me.
exactly. They're just like these are collectibles that are being sold, and that's essentially what a lot of these NFTs are. And like if they were structured differently, like in some cases, then like maybe you could call them securities. But what OpenSea is doing is
No,
it's not operating as a securities exchange. It's just stupid.
no, they don't pass the first principle of reasonableness. Like, why would a reasonable person ever consider this NFT to be a security? I don't care
know.
what the technical analysis is. It's stupid.
Yeah,
It's
a waste
dumb.
of time, waste of
Yes.
taxpayer dollars. But it's just the SEC.
Can we move on? I'm just pissed now.
Yeah, that's just it's dumb. It's dumb. I'll mention this one real quick also. So SEC's case against Kraken will proceed to trial. The California judge rules, and this is a similar case where the SEC is alleging that Kraken is violating securities laws because they consider a bunch of the tokens securities, and Kraken did not register as a broker, exchange, or clearinghouse supposedly. While all the crypto companies have said over and over again they try to go in and talk to the SEC, and they will not meet with them. So that's just another instance of that. Not good. Hopefully something changes. We'll see a big election coming up this November. So regardless of who wins, we could see a change either way, but we'll see. Next up, Celsius distributes $2.5 billion to 251,000 creditors amid bankruptcy proceedings. So this is the bankrupt crypto lender who went bust with Three Arrows Capital and was wrapped up in that whole
Mm.
saga in 2021. And this is just the latest kind of instance of these supply overhangs on the crypto market,
Mm.
like from Mt. Gox selling, from the U.S. government selling, from the German government selling. That is being cleared up now. So it's good that it's happening and that we're getting this behind us. But this is the latest news from that. Any thoughts there? You were not exactly into crypto whenever all of that went down, like Three Arrows, Terra Luna, all of that. So what's your view on this?
Uh, the first thing I thought of was, wow, it takes a long time to settle these bankruptcy kind of deals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really. I mean, I don't have any comment on that. Let's just move on.
No, you're not gonna like any of these news stories today. Trump
That's
releases
okay.
Trump releases his fourth drop of his NFT
Yeah.
trading cards. So former President Trump has these trading cards, but these ones are
Yes.
special. They are priced at $24,750, and they sold out. By the way, I just want you to know they sold out, and they're part of Trump's broader push into the crypto space. He's trying to position himself as like a champion of the industry, as a stark contrast to the current anti-crypto SEC under the Biden-Harris administration. And yeah, his NFTs are a huge success. People love them. And this one,
He
I
sold
think,
50. He's literally
yeah,
sold, wait, 40. He sold 40 of them.
not of the $24,000 ones. Yes,
Yes.
yeah, he has other collections that are. To be honest, I still think some of them are probably good investments if he wins. But yeah, he sold these. I think this one you actually get to have like a dinner with him or something
Oh.
too. Yeah, so he's still selling those. And then on this note, I think I have this as a story later, but there were some additional details about the Trump's DeFi project that came out. Did you see that?
Really?
Yeah.
No. First off, I mean, irrespective of how I feel about Trump, this is a genius idea to suck money out of dumb people, and people evidently do it. So, you know,
Well, dude,
that's it,
it's obvious. People bought the MAGA gears everywhere. Of course,
yeah,
people will buy NFTs too.
of course. That's
Yeah,
why I want TGT coin.
yeah, we could do it. There's Pump.fun. There's actually
Pump.fun, baby.
research this week, and Tron has its own meme generator platform now, which got a bunch of attention like last week. So
Yeah.
we can launch it on Tron. Should we launch a Tron meme coin?
I think Tron would be it. I mean, I think that would be the one to go to. I could live with Tron. I mean,
Yeah,
it's either we deal with Justin Sun and his ability to rug the entire blockchain, or we deal with Solana.
Mm.
That's our two options at the moment.
All right. Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll keep you guys updated. Maybe we launch a Tron based token. All right, but
Okay,
here's the last
go
thing.
ahead.
The last thing I want to note here is that on the website, I'll try to find where it's called. Yeah,
Why is high yield in quotes? Why is it quoted high
that's
yield?
because that's what they say in quotes on the web, not in quotes, but it's whenever they were promoting it, it said it would offer high yield investment opportunities. Supposedly, I actually don't see it right here on the website. This is the current website. That's all you get.
World Liberty. All right,
Be
one
defined.
word, bud. One word.
Yeah.
Ponzi. Ponzi.
You okay? I don't think it's going to be a Ponzi.
Yeah.
He's running for president. If he launches a Ponzi scheme, he is the worst advisors of all time. They're going to try to do something. I do think there's a lot of risk involved, and they're going to screw it up, which would be hilarious. It would be hilarious if something happened, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be a straight up scam, obviously, because he's the most scrutinized person in the entire world, probably. So yeah,
Could we launch a stable coin? Like we could put like all of our advertising revenue into a trust. We're probably up to $20 now, and launch a stable coin that is worth like 1/100th of a cent. That's only used for microtransactions. What do you think?
you can work on that project yourself. I
Okay.
can be a partner, a limited partner in that venture.
What's wrong with his face?
I don't know. I wanted to pull this up and see what you thought.
So I think first thing I think is he needs to get one of those like chin reduction surgeries. He's
Maybe.
got like right here, but he is an old man. He's almost 80, so I'm
Yeah,
not gonna.
he's very old. He's very old.
He's almost 80. He did almost get shot. He did survive.
He has a pretty interesting life, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
okay.
digress, though.
Yeah, enough
Is
of
there
that.
anything substant? Was there any good comment? No. Okay, enough of that. Let's
There's
not talk
nothing else
about
substantial.
politics.
That's all we know about it so far, and we'll
Okay.
keep you guys updated. But yeah, Trump's are all in on this high yield opportunities. So maybe we'll be
Hey,
degen to Trump's app. But
look at your last one, the Maker thing. So the Maker deal, like people are really giving them FUD because I guess they put in an off switch or to turn off the trading of what's it called, USDS Sky.
it's a free, yeah. So basically, it's a freeze functionality, so that they can, like, if a bad guy steals it or this or that, they can freeze it. And that's true. I believe it'll be, they have a very robust governance process in Maker, so it'd be the governance that could freeze it. But nonetheless, they do. And this is a move, I would say, and just from what I've heard from a few people in the industry, is that they're going after centralized issuers of stablecoins and like other real world assets like Circle and Tether directly. Like they are fully intending this to be a direct competitor to those. And as such, it needs to have all these built in functions to do this. But this is kind of goes back to what you said earlier, the super like crypto native, permissionless, don't trust anyone. People are mad about this, which I don't really understand because it's not like the Maker protocol goes anywhere. It's you can still use those contracts. You can still use DAI. It all works the same. Like the liquidity's there. Um, it's just that they're moving the protocol moving forward into this new direction. So yeah,
So does Tether and Circle, do they have an off switch for USDT and USDC?
yeah, they can steal your
People
token.
will seem to have a problem with that.
Well, yeah, because it's not DeFi. It's a company. It's a regulated. They're regulated. Well, Tether somewhat regulated, but they're centralized companies that have dollars in a bank account and are issuing a token. Like Maker does not have any dollars in any bank accounts. It does not. It's not a centralized company that's incorporated anywhere. It's supposed to be DeFi, but this move, I would admit, is I wouldn't consider it necessarily DeFi anymore because what they're trying to do is push into real world asset collaterals. They're trying to tokenize a bunch of real world assets and do all types of things within the protocol. So it's more of a competitor there,
Okay.
less DeFi.
All right. So I'm gonna raise my hand. Not a privacy maxi. Don't really give a shit
It's
if they
not
do
privacy.
this.
I'm saying it's not
I know.
privacy.
All right. Stop. I'll stop. I'll
It's
stop on
it's
that.
this.
But
It's
I'm gonna
like
say this:
permissionless.
if Maker basically allowed me to tokenize the value in my house or whatever, and give me that money in whatever their terms are, which I'm sure would be a lot better than a home equity loan or something like that. That would be something I would very much consider.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's what they're trying to move into. Like they're going to partner with certain. They can't do all that themselves, obviously, but they're going to partner. They're going to structure the protocol and the governance in such a way that they can partner with companies to do this sort of thing. And that's my general idea of where they're going. And yeah, I think that'd be really cool. And this is kind of that whole discussion you were talking about. Like, again, the coolest use cases in crypto, honestly, and this will like piss the super libertarians off, but it is more like a CeFi type of thing. It's a mixture between traditional and decentralized finance, and that's just the truth of it. It's
Yeah.
using like real world collateral, like the value of your house, like your equity portfolio, like your 401k, whatever it is, using that with DeFi, being able to have like asset transfers be more instant, more seamless, cheaper because they're on DeFi rails, and using everything together in a composable way across traditional DeFi, all of that. And
Yeah.
I just think that's where it has to go for the industry to grow. And I don't know
Yeah.
why I think this is what you're trying to express. And I completely agree. I think
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm trying to express.
we've maxed out the market for super permissionless, decentralized, like anti-government. It's like it's relegated to like a small group of like pretty libertarian folks who are afraid of the government, and like that's not going away. We have Bitcoin, we have the contracts for decentralized stablecoins like Maker, who you have ETH, which is fully permissionless asset that they can't freeze. You can get dollar denominated assets in it still through Maker, and you could say that their oracles are somewhat centralized, but my point is that we have the infrastructure, you have these tools, and to grow more, we need to go in the opposite direction. So, no.
Yeah. So let me. you talking made me think some more. Imagine that Fidelity, who I believe already has a tokenized money market fund or something like that.
Yeah.
Imagine they give the people that deposit access to those to like collateral that's secured by those tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine if my Vanguard account was tokenized and I could withdraw or take loan or whatever you want to say on that with essentially no capital gains. I wouldn't care if it's regulated, but I could do really cool shit with that on the blockchain and not have to worry about taking my money out or transferring it, all that kind of stuff. And that to me is ultra cool, ultra cool.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, I think that's the end goal of like this more traditional aspect to crypto that there is, and there's these other types of applications like SocialFi and all these other verticals within crypto. But I agree with you.
yeah, I mean, I hate to go on this, but essentially the idea of tokenizing real world assets at the snap of the finger, like Thanos on the Marvel's theories, like the snap of a finger takes a 1% decentralized finance asset base and immediately makes it the entire asset base of the modern world. Immediately.
Yeah.
Vanguard, it would, and BlackRock together would probably make 30 or 40 trillion dollars of assets. Maybe not that many, but 20 trillion dollars of assets liquid in a blockchain form at the snap of the finger. They push a button on a computer and you like 10x, 20x the entire decentralized asset base.
Yeah.
That's just freaky to think about.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like we're still tiny, and that's where the big unlock is, I think. And again, like if you really want crypto and crypto rails to be used at the level that they should be, because they're fundamentally better financial technology than what we currently have, you need to have these other assets. Like because fundamentally, we created all these assets completely on the internet, completely on chain that don't need any centralized entity. So it's its own little ecosystem, but all the real things are out in the real world. And the fact is you need some broker to say like, yes, we have these dollars, we have this real estate, we have this. And then I agree, I'll sign here and the law is enforcing it that this token represents that on the chain. And that's where the big unlock is. Like you can only go so far with this little encapsulated ecosystem on the internet.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of it. So that's how it works. And the ecosystem will always be there. People will be like, oh, well, we still need these things because governments go bad. It is true. Like they're censoring people all over the place. The US government confiscated US dollars from Russia whenever the war started. Like these things do happen. And there's a reason why these technologies are important to keep these large governments, large centralized entities in check. And them existing just keeps them in check itself. But for growth, we do need to move in the other direction. So I think I think we agree there. And I think this is a vision that needs to be understood by the crypto market more generally, because people get very lost in just talking about token prices, like all these kind of Ponzi games that people play, and just the nature of the space.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I think that's a good talk there. Next one, Ton, the blockchain, who just had their founder arrested.
Yep.
We talked about that. I'm not going to get more into that, but their blockchain went down twice this week, unfortunately, after that. So it was a rough week for them. And it's interesting. I think that this is actually probably a good opportunity to take another look at Ton as an asset, but the Telegram network generally. Usually at the bottom like this, whenever there's a lot of uncertainty and doubt, it's an interesting time for most projects. So hopefully they can turn it around after the rough week, but that happened. And any thoughts on that? I know that you're not a big Ton user or anything, but you're a Telegram user now. So
yeah, I like Telegram.
Yeah, it's a good app.
Yeah, it's a good app. I like it. It's sort of very well done. I don't quite get why it has a blockchain, but that's fine. I think, let me put it this way. I just hope that this was a unilateral decision by France or the European Union, and that the U.S. was not involved in this in some way.
Yeah.
To circumvent our Constitution.
arresting software developers is scary for sure.
Yeah.
Like that. Hopefully that doesn't.
Well, I think I said last week. All right. Well, if we're going to arrest him for that, I sure the heck hope the CEO of Verizon or the CEO of AT&T or Sprint doesn't go to France, because they ought to be arrested too.
Yeah, for what's happening on their networks all the time.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and I think we do have the immunity here in the United States for these people, which is good. But this comes on the wave of Europe. It really is getting pretty authoritarian, which is interesting in a lot of respects, because you actually saw the same thing. Elon Musk talked to presidential candidate Donald Trump on Twitter a couple weeks back, and I forget her title, but it was a woman who was fairly high ranking in the EU, calling for like the censorship and of that conversation, and for Elon not to do that, or else they would arrest him, essentially, which is absolutely nuts. That is crazy.
Yeah.
It was a signed letter. It was on Twitter. Yeah, that's just nuts. So hopefully that stays over in Europe. They don't need to catch us with that. Luckily, we do have the Bill of Rights. We have the Constitution, which has kept us farther away from that type of thing.
So it's funny that it's like at every turn, it seems like these other parts of the world just make profound missteps to keep potentially putting themselves further and further behind.
Yeah.
You know, like Europe, they're stifling innovation. Just when, in my opinion, and as you know, I'm an American exceptionalism person. I believe in that. Just when we have have largely done the AI revolution, which I don't think is a revolution, but I think we made great advances in AI, and that's all going to be funneled back to the U.S. That these other countries are going the opposite direction, stifling any form of innovation, which comes down to freedom of speech, right? That's what it is. And Argentina, I think it's Brazil. The guy down there is like acting like a whack job with Elon, and part of the problem is Elon's fault, because Elon's a little bit of a whack job. He just happens to be a very rich whack job. But you know, it just is like, well, you guys keep making these missteps. Hopefully, what seems as very divisive environment in the U.S. actually continues to be one which fosters innovation in spite of all that. And you know, we're going to figure out in my opinion, we'll figure out all the crap that we're arguing about now. Money's going to keep flowing to the innovators. The innovators are going to keep being here, whether they're in California or Texas. That remains to be seen. But great stuff's going to continue happening in the U.S. And maybe I'm a U.S. maxi. That's what I am. I'm a U.S. maxi.
I like that. Yeah. The one thing I will say here is that I agree with you, and I think innovation will stay here. But I don't think it's because I think the people building here are exceptional. I agree with that. I think we attract the best entrepreneurs, the best programmers, the best creators in the world, and that's definitely true. But from like a leadership perspective, from the leadership of the country, I don't think that's true at all. I think you see it through these enforcement actions. They want control of the stuff. They would be doing the same exact thing that Europe is doing right now if they could. But we have a very robust court system that is non-corrupt, and we have the Constitution, and that's what's kept us safe from that. Because if not, you see all these hearings bringing like AI leaders into Washington, like asking them to like crack down and be really strict on AI regulation. You see them trying to shut down new emerging industries like cryptocurrency, like these other fintech companies trying to do innovative things. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that's like this authoritarian force exists within Washington in the United States, because to be honest, it really is un-American. But I do think that it's the people here that kind of uphold the values of the Constitution and our robust kind of three-branch system with these checks and balances, specifically the court system, has kept us safe from that. Because it doesn't seem like the people in Washington like uphold these same values at all. Like it seems like they want to control things as much as possible.
Well, yeah, that's the nature of politicians. I don't disagree with that. I think, but Ben, I've said this before. I think in a longer term perspective, what we see now is just the latest in U.S. turmoil. You know, in the late 60s, it was something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the 80s, it was businesses just, you know, getting super rich. In the 20s and 30s it was something else. In the 1860s it was something else.
Well,
But
what would
like
you
you
say the
said,
problem is, though?
what?
What would you say? How would you define the problem? Now, there's a political
Okay.
divisiveness, and that's an issue. But I don't think that's like, yeah, it seems to be like an expanding of the government, irresponsible policies that aren't really popular amongst a large cohort of people, like irresponsible spending and taxation. Like, what do you think?
So I don't have a this taxation and spending is crazy to me, and I think you've said this before. There's not going to be a politician whose platform is going to be raise taxes and reduce government to get a balanced budget. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I will say though that the lunacy in Washington, like the extremism, is at the last 8 years. I mean, going back to Obama and then Bush and then Clinton and then Bush one and then Reagan and then Carter and Nick, on and on and on and on back. We were never anywhere close to this that I can remember in my lifetime. Um, so my hope is that, like, every other very, very young nation, which the U.S. is, that we will get through this and sanity will be restored. Um, and we'll go forward. Now, the next election will tell something, and we'll have to go from there. But I fundamentally believe that what we all should want in Washington D.C. is gridlock, because also believe most of those people have no idea what they're doing. Like, I don't know why they're necessarily. So we believe them more than other people, and part of the issue there, Ben, is we get these supposedly educated people like J.D. Vance. I mean, he's got every credential you could possibly frickin' want to be in Congress, or well, he's in Congress now, to be an executive in our political system. And he says just moronic things that don't make any sense in any kind of centrist viewpoint of the world.
yeah.
And that leads me to think: Are you a liar, and you just say this to get your ego ahead and become vice president, maybe president next, or do you believe this? Because it's hard to believe a truly educated person would believe it.
What, to be honest, I'm not that filled in on him. I have seen mostly. I would say that my Twitter skews definitely Republican because I'm on crypto Twitter, and most crypto people do not like the Democrats. So, like, for example, on the Democratic side, what you've seen are these absolutely atrocious policies by, like, Kamala Harris, like raising capital gains tax to like 45% or something, like doing a 25% capital gains tax on unrealized gains. And then they attribute inflation to quote corporate price gouging in this type of thing. So these are like either completely misinformed takes or they're lies. And I think that's what you're saying from the other side. So
Oh
are
yeah.
you, are you saying like that's the issue? It's this weird, like, it seems like the ideas that the politicians are fighting about and the things they're saying aren't like what people care about, aren't what people want, and it just causes divisiveness instead of actually addressing problems. That's from my perspective the issue, but I don't know what
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
So I think that's like, yeah, okay, yeah, she said those things, and just like Trump saying we're going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it, there's like no chance in hell that those things are going to pass.
yeah.
Zero.
Well, Kamala wants to
But
build the wall now too. By the way, just saying.
uh,
She said it. She did. She said it this week. I don't
okay,
think she said
well,
Mexico's going to pay for it, but she changed her mind and said She said they're going to build the wall. But keep going.
so it just seems to me that these people now are having to say these wild, outlandish things to satisfy their base.
Yeah,
And most of the base is too freaking stupid. I mean, remember, half of them are under average IQ to believe or to think these things can happen.
yeah,
That's not going to happen. Those things aren't going to happen on the left or the right. And what's very frustrating is they say these stupid things, but refuse to work together to solve the real problems.
yeah,
One thing I don't think the trade-off is quite this easy because of my view of the U.S. and the world. But you've said before, well, let's take the money we're giving to foreign wars and feed the homeless or reduce our debt or whatever. That makes frickin' perfect sense. Maybe not all of it, but a large part of it. That makes perfect sense. Why doesn't somebody do that? Well, because no one really gives a shit about that. It's not a sexy issue that polarizes people. So let's talk about a unrealized gains tax, and let's talk about building a wall. When none of those things are going to happen.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. To balance it out here, I've railed on the Democrats a bunch here. Trump says stupid stuff all the time. He says the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Like,
yeah, we can't talk about that because it's constant, Ben. It's constant.
Yeah. No, someone said one time that like Trump is a genius because he just says so much ridiculous stuff that when he acts even relatively normal, we're like, oh, like pretty good, pretty good, because all the time he's just insane, which I thought was pretty funny.
That's true.
But yeah, I agree. It seems that to cut this off politically, I think last thing I would say is that it's definitely like very far left in the Democrats' case, and then very, I don't know how you kind of categorize it, but populist ideas that are being thrown out there just to get people stirred up, to get them to vote. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's not reasonable. It's not competent people working together to try to solve America's issues. It's like this social media headline fueled war of ideas and memes on Twitter and TikTok that is running things. And I actually think that might be the real issue.
Yeah.
It's this information diet. These information technologies have pushed us in this direction. And I think we will get through it, like you're saying, especially in America, because we can weather it out because we have some like structural resistance to this in government, which is what's saving us, in my opinion. But yeah, at the end of the day, hopefully that passes. The one thing I will say, it is pretty entertaining. It's pretty funny sometimes, just because it's so outlandish. It seems like a simulation. So
yeah, well, you mentioned that about these TikTok and Instagram type quotes. We're going to do it with this issue, Ben. When you do our thumbnail, put something in there about Republicans, Democrats, because last time you did that, I think that show got more views than any of the other shows.
Yeah,
because it's what people are want to see, no matter what you actually say. So we're going to put that on there. They're going to watch this. They're going to hear me basically call them a bunch of idiots, and then they won't like us. But that's good though. We want that, right? Evidently in today's society.
100%. Hey, that's the one thing we still have here is free speech. There's a bunch of countries across the world that do not have that as an enshrined right, or if they do, it's not really enshrined, so they can get silenced, they can get thrown in jail for having certain opinions. So we're in America, we're going to exercise our right, call the current political climate a complete clown show, which it is. They're all clowns. You can choose team red or team blue. They're all clowns. That's my statement.
I love that. Should be the thumbnail. Yeah. They're all
clowns. And then, they make mock-ups of like Trump and Kamala Harris with like clown makeup on and stuff.
That would be great. I would love that.
So we're brainstorming right here.
Yes. Benjo. So I'm thinking next week, I think we're going to wrap this up this week, right? Yeah. We're wrapping up. So next week,
kind of slow week.
Next week, perhaps we try to film the show from the tailgate at Indiana Memorial Stadium.
That would be
afternoon.
Cool. I think we can do it.
I gotta use my hotspot on my phone, but I think we could do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm up for it. I would do it. Well, that might be the only show this fall because we're pretty busy that we might be in person together, and so that'd be a good opportunity to do it for sure.
No, I mean this Friday when I'm at the stadium and you are in the Big Apple, and then we'll be together when you come in.
I thought you meant when I came in.
That too.
Yeah, whenever I come in, we can do it at the tailgate. But if you think you can do it from the tailgate, like stream it, that's fine. If you think the connection would be good, but yeah, that works.
We'll try it.
Okay, that's cool. Also, I'm trying to think. We have some more announcements. One would be that we're doing some more work for another crypto project. We're excited about them. We'll share that whenever the time comes. Hopefully, maybe we can do some more interviews or at least kind of put some good content for you guys out there. That's the one thing. Two, the other thing I wanted to say is that we're going to be launching some products at some point. We have some things behind the scenes that we're going to need you guys to purchase, but and also
they are off the hook. It's not what you think.
It's not
what you think. No, it's not what you think. Should we tell them the name of the company that we already have to launch these products?
We could, yeah. You can tell
Well, it was your idea. Go ahead, you tell them.
them. Okay, it's called Elixir, and they're going to be pretty good products. If any of my friends, anyone I know is watching this, hit me up, ask me about it. We got some good ideas. We just had a great product idea. The Grand Tonto saw something interesting, and we got some cool stuff coming out. So we're gonna have some. We're building an empire here. We're gonna have physical products, Elixir. We got internet capital. We're gonna keep doing the show
Yeah.
for as long as we want. We're gonna have a meme coin on Tron soon.
Right.
We're gonna have yeah, we have a lot of business lines
Yeah.
coming. So
Yeah.
stay tuned, lock in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Elixir is not crypto focused. It's a consumer. I'll give it's a food product, a food, nutrition, performance, health products. It's a line.
That's the general category. Yes, that's the general
category.
You'll love it.
Exactly.
Maybe it'll help you out if you're crypto trading. Maybe not, but yeah, we're excited about that. We're gonna keep building this out.
Yes, we are. We love it. We have fun. It's going to be the family business.
Yeah.
The only true money printer, the money printing machine in the U.S. is to create your own company.
That is true. That's a good point. That is a good point.
Yes.
So for now, good luck. Stay safe in the crypto markets. Don't over leverage. Don't do anything stupid. Don't lose your money. Don't get hacked. None of this was financial advice. We are dumb. Do not listen to us about anything. We are very, very dumb.
Barely above the clown show.
Yes, you guys will lose all of your money if you listen to us. Yeah. So I think those were good enough disclaimers. So if we get taken to court, they can play that. And I told you so.
Yes, so don't do any of that.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you next week, Ben. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.